On December 16, 1990, a movie called Home Alone was released in theaters. And by all accounts, it was a huge success. It grossed over $470 million at the box office. It has become a Christmas classic watched by millions every year, and even today, it is considered one of the best movies ever made. And if you've seen Home Alone, you may remember that it takes place in the fictional town of Winnetka, Illinois. But did you know that Home Alone was actually filmed in Chicago? That's right. The real house from Home Alone is actually located in Chicago. And there are some things about this house that the filmmakers didn't want you to know. So today take a look at the real Home Alone house and find out the hidden truth behind it. Now, if you're a fan of the Home Alone movies, or just looking for something fun to do this holiday season, you'll definitely want to stay tuned. We're gonna start off by taking a look at what happened to the owner of the house after it was used for filming. So the house at the center of the film is an 8,300 square foot mansion built in 1955. It is located at the corner of Lincoln Avenue and Barry White Way in the Chicago suburb of Evanston. Before being chosen as the location for Home Alone, the house had already been featured in several other films, including Uncle Buck and My Girl. In fact, it has become somewhat of a tradition for new Chicago-based films to use this house as a filming location. But back to Home Alone. When the owners of the house found out that their property was going to be used for filming, they were pretty excited. They saw it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and thought it would be a great experience. But they probably didn't expect what happened next. You see, when Home Alone was released, it became an instant classic, and people from all over the world started showing up at the house just to get a glimpse of it. At first, the owners were flattered by all the attention, but it quickly became a nuisance. People were walking on their lawn, taking pictures, and even trying to sneak inside the house. The owners eventually put up signs asking people to please respect their privacy, but it didn't help much. In fact, things got so bad that the owners eventually had to install security cameras and hire a security guard to protect their property. And that's not even the worst of it, because, as you can imagine, with all the attention that the house was getting, it also became a target for thieves. Over the years, there have been several reports of people stealing items from the house, and in 1992, someone even tried to set the house on fire. Now, you may be wondering why someone would try to set the house on fire. After all, it's just a house. But for some people, it's more than that. To them, it's a symbol of everything that's wrong with Hollywood. You see, many people believe that Home Alone is a corrupt movie that promotes violence and materialism, and they took their anger out on the house. Now, thankfully, no one was hurt in the fire, and the house was able to be restored. But it was a traumatic experience for the owners who had to deal with the aftermath. Eventually, the owners decided that they could no longer live in the house because it was constantly being vandalized. They put it up for sale in 1997 and moved away. Now, you might think that this is where the story ends, but it's really just the beginning. Because when the house went up for sale, it attracted a lot of attention from people who wanted to buy it and tear it down. Some of these people were even willing to pay top dollar for the house, just so they could get their hands on the materials. But thankfully, a local developer ended up purchasing the house and restoring it instead. He said he was a big fan of the Home Alone movies, and that he wanted to preserve the house as a piece of movie history. Now, if you're a fan of the Home Alone movies, you're probably thinking, this is great news. Finally, someone was going to restore the house and keep it in good condition. But that's not necessarily true. You see, while the developer did make some repairs to the house, he also made some changes that many people believe were unnecessary and unflattering. For example, he added a two-story addition to the house, which completely changed its look. He also installed aluminum siding and a new roof. And while these changes may have been necessary to bring the house up to code, they also made it look less charming and more like a typical suburban home. The developer then listed the house for rent at a whopping $19,000 per month. And you might be wondering why the developer charged so much for the house. After all, it's just a regular old house, right? Well, not quite. You see, the developer was hoping that the house's notoriety would attract wealthy renters, who would be willing to pay anything to live in the house from Home Alone. But this plan backfired when no one seemed interested in renting the house at that price. Eventually, the developer had to lower the price to $12,000 per month just to find tenants. And even then, it took him several years to find someone willing to rent the house. So, what does the future hold for the Home Alone house? Will it continue to be a source of fascination for fans of the movie? Or will it eventually be torn down? Only time will tell. Now, let's take a look at one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. Kevin's house was covered in paint, and it looked like a disaster. But it turns out that this scene was actually filmed at a different house entirely. The house at 671 Lincoln Avenue in Evanston, Illinois. This house is similar to the house used for the exterior shots of Kevin's house, but it's smaller and doesn't have the same layout. Nevertheless, this is the house that was used for the iconic paint-covered scene in Home Alone. As you can imagine, this house has also received its fair share of attention from fans of the movie. People often stop by to take pictures, and some have even tried to sneak inside the house to see if they can find any hidden treasures. Thankfully, the current owner has been able to keep the house mostly to themselves, despite all the attention. Now, if you're a fan of the Home Alone movies, you'll definitely want to add this house to your list of must-see locations. Who knows? You might even be able to catch a glimpse of Macaulay Culkin himself. If you've seen the movie, you'll remember that there was a pizza delivery guy who tried to rob Kevin's house, but ended up getting scared off by Kevin's booby traps. Well, it turns out that the house used for the pizza delivery scene is still standing. It's located at 1453 West Fargo in Chicago. And it looks pretty much the same as it did in the movie. In fact, you might even be able to order a pizza from here. Just kidding. The house is privately owned and not open to the public. But if you're a fan of the Home Alone movies, you'll definitely want to add this house to your list of must-see locations. It's hard to believe that it's been over 30 years since the release of Home Alone, but the legacy of the film lives on. Not only is it still one of the most popular Christmas movies ever made, but it's also become a pop culture phenomenon. From the iconic line, "Keep the change," to the unforgettable character of Harry Lime, Home Alone has something for everyone. And if you're a fan of the film, we encourage you to visit the houses from Home Alone. It is a great way to show your support for the film and to experience a little bit of magic for yourself. Just remember to be respectful of the homeowners and their property. After all, these are real people living in real houses. Thanks for watching our video on the houses from Home Alone. We hope you enjoyed learning more about this iconic film and the locations that made it possible. If you're a fan of the film, we encourage you to visit the houses from Home Alone and to show your support for the film and the city of Chicago. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Subscribe to my channel.